Welcome to another episode of the Advancing Consciousness podcast with myself, Franco De Nicola. And today we're going to play with twin soul, soulmates, and soul families. So we have a better understanding what they are. I know there's a lot of confusion at times, and there's also, in a way, a misunderstanding, specifically on all the terms that are shared. So stay tuned as we unravel it and explore the difference. Okay, so let's play with this whole understanding of twin souls, soulmates, and soul families. Sometimes they're interacted with each other, but there is not a deeper, clearer understanding what they all are. And so there is confusion around that, but at the same time, that question keeps coming up, and I've heard it many times for quite some time, for years. Now, when it comes to twin souls, they're also known as twin flames. It's a terminology in the spiritual realms that they have applied to it. But the name itself, when we're looking at the twin soul, it tells you right away that they are actual twins. What does that mean? Well, twin souls are, before we go into that, the soul is spirit in action, creating a uniqueness experience, uniqueness embodiment, and unique recording and contribution. So, when we go back to the twin soul idea, twin meaning they're identical, and they are. So you have two souls that have the exact same signature. That means they operate within the same frequency, they have the same capacity of expression, they have the same spectrum of light that it can utilize, and they have a more direct connection to each other, so that there is an equal and constant sharing of each other's experience and any observation that is made. Now, as much as they are twin souls, they do choose not to incarnate until some point they may feel to do so, and that's not consistent, to incarnate on the same planet and to take on roles with each other and share the space. Now, we'll carry on with the twin soul. The purpose of the twin soul is to have the two souls with the same experiences and to choose different incarnations, taking on different bodies, could be on different dimensions, can be on different playgrounds in different forms, and so forth. One can be in form, another one can choose to be in non-form for a period of time. Now, they normally purposely do not incarnate on the same planet and meet until a certain level of experience and readiness comes about. And when I mean readiness, it means that they've already explored what they wanted to explore separately, and then they may choose to meet. Now, that does not mean they will. They maintain the connection and so forth. But at the same time, a twin soul, once they are both done with what they have chosen to experience in all its incarnations and so forth, can choose and will exercise the option to merge, so the two souls become one. Normally, when they do so, they take on more of a guidance role and at times incarnate but incarnate on higher dimensional consciousness because they are merging experiences and elevated consciousness, which may not be so suited for a planet of a lower vibration unless there's a very specific requirement and facilitation that can be attributed by the unified soul, meaning the two twins merging as one and taking on one human form or some form on another planet in a different being body of sorts. So, a lot of people have talked about twin souls and meeting their twin soul and so forth. Now, let me clarify something else. If the two souls choose to incarnate on the same planet due to a certain level of readiness, we have to understand that it is not in the concept, it's not firm in the concept that one will be male, another one will be female, and that in one way or another that they will come together and create bliss, or whatever else you want to call it. A twin soul can incarnate as one of their parents, one of their siblings, could be considered a stranger because they're not in the same family dynamics when it comes to the form aspect of it. One can be older, one can be younger, one can be, they can both be the same sex or different sex, or it can be anything at this point in time. So you may have a twin soul that can be a parent, can be a twin soul that can be a relative, you can be a twin soul that is a brother or, or something else at this point in time, of the same sex or whatever it is. There's many, many combinations. Now, at the same time, there is the combination or the options for meeting each other as a male and female or whatever, so that they can create a relationship or get involved in a relationship. Now, the twin souls would do that for one main purpose. Well, a couple of purposes. Two, to be exact. First and foremost, if they do come together, they will experience a powerful pull. It's like a magnet of sorts. The pull will be because of the powerful recognition, not only of the signature and vibration, but also the pull because of their twin state. So they will choose to interact with each other for a period of time. Could be for the full incarnation or for a period of time in the incarnation. So it's not you meet and it's a lifetime of sorts. That's not the case. Now, the main goal, if they do come together and they do meet, they will evaluate each other to be of highest service. That means, should there be a lot of different programs, stories, perceptions, belief systems, and so forth that are impeding one or both souls, then they will play very specific, very fine-tuned roles with each other to push buttons, activate, bring forth, while supporting them in some way, not always looking that way, supporting them to be able to move through those states. And what do I mean by through those states? Work through the stories, programs, belief systems so that it can be, first of all, recognized, second of all, appreciated, third of all, go into a state of love for its existence and the role that it's played, and then to clear it out. We have to understand that all these stories, programs, belief systems, and perception have come from different incarnations, have come from this incarnation, but all of them were related to pretty well in the polarity, separated, invertedness experience. So for you to really step up to the next level, you need to drop all of that. And that is what the twin souls will do. So that will be the first and foremost. Now, at the same time, as they become clearer, as they facilitate each other, they will be able to do the next part. But before I go there, let me share one other thing about the twin souls. Now, twin souls can push each other's buttons even more powerfully than other individuals that would normally take on a role and play in your life. Now, what do I mean by that? They will take on the other role because of the magnetic pull. That magnetic pull, that means the pull to each other, meaning that if you are being pushed extremely hard to bring up these program stories, even an avalanche of them, you will have less of a tendency to escape and run away from the experience or from one another. And this is why they can push it to the max. This is not to do with torture or anything of that nature. It's efficiency, bringing things to the maximum exposure so that it can be worked through much more effectively and efficiently. Now, that can be challenging at times. It can polarize, intensify everything under the sun in those experiences, but it does serve in a powerful way. So now that I've covered that part, let's take a look at the next part. The next part is, once you have both refined yourselves to another level, the two twin souls, signature and experiences, emanating very powerful energies, will create a third, exponentially more powerful than the individualization and the combined version. So when two come together of like-minded or like frequency, you create a third and more powerful energy. And then that serves to be even more impactful on a collective scale on the planet, and also in the transformation of the human experience. I've heard and worked with many twin souls coming together. Some, of course, the same sex and different ages and whatever else. Some are male and female, pretty close to the idea of being together in a sense because it matches the requirement that we've set up as being male and female, or maybe even the same sex, but able to go into each other's life as significant others to each other, that have found that at times, and very much so, that they will accentuate some pretty powerful emotions and programs and accentuations and so forth. And at times they're going, this is unbearable. But at the same time, that is very instrumental for each other's advancement and its unified advancements. So there is this idea that if twin souls come together, we reach nirvana. Well, yes and no. We will reach a certain level of nirvana because that already exists in each one of us, but we're amplifying it by coming together. But that's once we've cleared out everything that reflects away from the nirvana that we are. So yes, can it be a powerful loving? Yes. Can it be pretty intense? Yes. But a unification that establishes once the purification of sorts come about, then that becomes really, really instrumentally powerful. That is an absolute fact. So that's the twin soul part of it. It is not as common, even though it is more common for us to meet our twin soul and to play with our twin soul in this incarnation. It has become more prevalent of them coming together over the years, only because a necessity to advance things more powerfully and also to be a powerful contributor has been one of the calls that has been existing on the planet for a little while now. So that's why more of that is happening. Before it was a lot more rare. And just to wrap up the twin soul, once, and like I said earlier, even though they do not take on form on the same planet, when they have both achieved the frequency, the consciousness, the enlightenment they choose, they will merge to take on a more elevated role. And that's how it works with the twin soul. When it comes to soulmates, what are soulmates? Well, they're souls that have chosen to play with each other, to be in each other's lives in different incarnations. They're like soul partners, soul playmates. How does that serve? Well, soulmates can choose to play different roles for each other. Meaning in one life stream, we will play this role, in another life stream, we'll play another role. You may give assignments to each other. You may make choices so that you remember each other. Maybe not to the details of where you're incarnated and all that stuff, and that does exist, doesn't mean it doesn't. But without going into those details, you will feel drawn to each other. So it's a commitment, an agreement that's made prior to incarnation and reviewed during the incarnation to see if it still serves and so forth. You will recognize each other, will come in each other's lives, and play very specific roles. Now, those specific roles will serve also in either contributing each other to remember who they are, to help purge old programs and so forth, or to balance their experience, or to give each other an opportunity to experience something they wouldn't have been unless it was really specified. And so soulmates will incarnate on different planets at different times, and also on the same planets at different times. Some soulmates may have had several lives with each other, some more lives, like many, many lives, and some very few lives. And soulmates come and go. That does not mean the relationship when you come together will last. Now, soulmates can be, again, can be a parent, could be a sibling, could be a friend, could be anyone else that you may meet. You will come together, support, serve, do all types of things with a certain level of recognition to be able to play the role very specifically to advance each other and to complement and to expand each other. So we have more than one soulmate on the planet at a time. It doesn't mean that, there's only the one. We make many soul agreements. So we may have more than one soulmate. Now, you may choose to experience them one at a time. Sometimes you may experience more than one at a time. Does that mean that you get into an intimate relationship? Not at all. That may happen, absolutely. There's a fact, can't say that's not a fact. It is. You can, but that is usually not the main mandate. It's not usually the main default. You may have a friend that is a soulmate, and sometimes you will get into an intimate relationship. We have to understand there's a lot of flexibility. It's all about how it serves each other, and there is no restrictions or ideas that it has to be one way or another. This is what we have to understand. It doesn't have rules per se. There's an understanding and of service. Now, some of us, when you tune in and say, well, I've had many lives with this individual and so forth, and somehow we like to give a lot of egotistical value to a soulmate. And that what it means or doesn't mean or something of that nature. But to understand, that's what a soulmate is. Souls that you have met, have had experiences, have agreed to. Now, you may not consciously remember all of that. but there is a recognition from a soul level. Now, I will go in further as we go along. Now, the next one is soul families. What is that? Now, soul families will also incarnate at times on the same planet, will come in, play a very specific role. Now, the difference is, when we're talking a twin soul, they have exactly the same signature. As a soulmate, it won't have a same signature, but it can have some of the signature close to yours, but it's going to be different, more than 2 digits different per se. And in saying that and understanding all of that, is that a soulmate can be very different in its signature, meaning in vibration, because the soulmates make that arrangement so that it serves. It doesn't have to have any form of similarities in its vibration or closeness to the vibration of the other. This is what we want to understand. When it comes to soul families do have a close match to the signature. 2 digits are off, per se, because in a soul family there are 24 souls. One soul family with the oversoul is made up of 24 souls. So basically it's 12 souls with 12 different signatures. But since we all have a duplicate soul with a duplicate, what we call twin soul, duplicate signature, even though there are 24 experiential souls, there are 12 different signatures, 12 different frequency expressions, 12 different spectrum of light difference in creating the holographic expression. So soul families collaborate to create what we call the oversoul. The oversoul is the combination of not only memory but of consciousness and experience and levels of enlightenment made up of 24 souls, which you have access to as your soul. As I said, you have access to your twin soul, its experience, and its sharing of consciousness. Even if one's in form, one is not in form, one is on a different planet than the one that you're on, in a different physical form also. But we also have access to our oversoul that has access to other 23 experiencers, 23 levels of consciousness that we have access to utilize and to interact, or maybe not interact, but plug into our particular experience. So you have quite a bit of resources when we're talking about that. So when it comes to soul families, those are the classes. Now we have different levels of soul families. The other levels will have a slightly more different signature, so the frequency is less of a matching frequency, but it also still is part of your soul family. Ultimately, we are one soul. Ultimately, we are spirit. Ultimately, we are source. And that's how we look at it. So to understand it, do soulmates incarnate on the same planet? Yes, they do. Not common, but they do. Sometimes they are interpreted as soulmates, but they're actually soul family. A soul family member, let's call it that. So you have the soulmates that you make arrangements that are from other soul families that will come and play a role in your life. You have your own soul family, you have your own twin soul. That is your multi-dimensional soul. When it comes to your human entity at this point in time, that is also a soul with a different signature. Now, it does not have a twin soul. It is from one cluster, one oversoul, or in this case, collective soul. It's called the collective human soul that will create or spin off or project out and out in the field of itself to create different signature experiences of the collective human soul. That's the collective human experience, human consciousness, human skill sets. And that is instrumental to bring in to our experience, because you have to understand the body has a certain fundamental navigational capacities in being in form or extension of Gaia. The human entity is the part that brings in the elaborate expanded gifts, skill sets, and consciousness gained on planet Earth, and also whatever it's gained from all the multidimensional souls uniting with it while taking in one expression in human form. When it comes to our multidimensional soul, of course, that has the twin and has the oversoul, has soul families, and has soulmates. Now, the human entity also has soulmates too, meaning souls that agree to play with each other too. So it can get complicated if you're trying to organize it in your life, in your mind. But at the same time, it's not that complicated. So there are different versions of so-called soulmates, your human soulmates and your multidimensional soulmates. There is only the multidimensional twin soul, and there's the soul family in the multidimensional realm of soul, and then there is the collective human soul that makes up the so-called family of the human entity / soul that exists. So we're made up of the three. So that's what the difference is between the twin souls, the soulmates, and soul families. And now I threw in also the human entity, which is the human soul. Now, these souls all come and go in any playground and experience. None of them will be there for your experience throughout the experience. They will come and go on how it serves, when it serves. Now, some may stay right to the end of your incarnation, but the majority do not. And that's all. But it all works in absolute perfection. It's not that one's better than the other or anything about nature. No, that's not the case. The case is it serves, and that's the main focus. All right. Hopefully what I've shared provides you the clarity of what a twin soul / twin flame, soulmate, and soul family. We're all here to advance, grow, and flourish, and becoming a grander aspect of our spirit essence source that we are. And that is the main thing to keep in mind. That is our purpose. Any playground we come in is to play, to learn, to expand, to become more enlightened, and to use whatever resources we have at our disposal. And we are the ones designing it, selecting it, activating it, integrating it, and so forth. So until next time, play with all of that has been shared. Let it trigger the knowing that you have within yourself and really expand accordingly. We welcome and thank you for coming together. We thank you for your contribution. We welcome your financial contribution, for this is all the resources that we use to pay and support all the platforms, to focus on creating constant content and tools for you. Should you want to check out the website and join the newsletter, the link is below in the description. If you'd like to contribute financially to support us, there's a link in the description. And should you want to check out the workshops that are available in video and audio recordings for you to advance and to support you on this journey, there's also a link for that. Until next time, go out and have a blast.